You ever bite into a perfectly cold piece of cheese at a food pop-up and just not think about it? Someone behind the scenes is having a small panic attack, making sure that cheese didn't spend the last 4 hours slowly becoming a biohazard. Dairy and meat are what food safety people call temperature sensitive, which is a polite way of saying they will absolutely try to ruin your event if you look away for 10 minutes. The rule most vendors follow is called the danger zone. And no, it's not a Top Gun reference, it's the range between 40 degrees and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, where bacteria basically throw a party. So here's the first thing smart vendors do. They don't rely on one cooler and a prayer. They actually plan their refrigeration the same way you'd plan a road trip, with backups, checkpoints, and a healthy fear of things going wrong. The most common solution you'll see at pop-ups is the commercial chest freezer, or upright cooler running off a generator. These aren't your dad's camping coolers. They're insulated units designed to hold steady temperatures even when someone keeps opening the door every 30 seconds. Generators are basically the unsung heroes of the whole operation, humming away behind the tent while everyone's focused on the food. A good vendor will size their generator to handle not just refrigeration but also lighting, cooking equipment, and whatever else is pulling power. Because running out of juice mid-event is the kind of catastrophe that ends up in a group chat forever. There's also a newer wave of vendors using battery-powered refrigeration units, which are quieter, cleaner, and honestly kind of impressive. Some of these units can run for 8 to 12 hours on a single charge, which covers most pop-up events without needing a gas generator roaring next to your lemonade stand. Now here's where it gets clever: temperature monitoring. A lot of vendors now use wireless thermometers that send alerts straight to their phone if the cooler climbs above a certain threshold. It's basically a babysitter for your brisket, and it's one of those small investments that separates the professionals from the "will be fine" crowd. Dry ice makes an appearance too, especially for vendors transporting product before the event even starts. It's not a long-term solution once you're set up, but it buys you time and keeps things frozen solid during a 2-hour drive in a hot van, which is exactly the kind of scenario that ends badly without it. Meats actually require stricter handling than dairy in most cases, which surprises people. Raw proteins need to stay at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, and if you're serving something like smoked brisket that needs to stay hot, you've got an entirely different set of equipment, cambros, warming drawers, and a separate thermometer situation going on simultaneously. Here's a fun thing most people don't realize. Many cities require pop-up vendors to log their temperatures throughout the event as part of their food handler permit, so that vendor isn't just checking temperatures because they care, they're literally writing it down in a notebook like a very sweaty scientist. Ice is still incredibly common and weirdly underrated as a refrigeration method, but it has one fatal flaw: it melts. Vendors who rely purely on ice need to account for drainage, refill schedules, and the fact that soggy packaging does nobody any favors when you're trying to look professional. The vendors who really have it figured out treat their refrigeration setup like a living system, not a set-it-and-forget-it situation. They check temperatures at setup, mid-event, and before breakdown. 3 data points that can tell you whether your equipment is struggling before it actually fails. What's honestly cool about this whole world is that portable refrigeration technology has gotten dramatically better in just the last 10 years. Units that used to cost thousands of dollars are now accessible to small vendors, which means a person selling handmade cheeses at a Saturday market can have the same food safety setup as a catering company. The biggest mistake new vendors make is underestimating how much heat the environment itself adds to the equation. A black tent in direct sunlight in July is basically an oven, and your cooler is fighting that battle the entire time. Shade placement, airflow, and keeping cooler lids closed between uses are the kinds of small decisions that add up to a very big difference by hour 6 of an 8-hour event. If all of this has you curious about how businesses handle the behind-the-scenes logistics of food events, or you just want to go deeper on operational stuff like this, want to learn more about what our company does, check out our links in the description.